Listen carefully. There are truths that refuse to stay hidden. They press against the silence of your life until you are ready to hear them. Many call themselves chosen, but chosen is not a crown. It is a responsibility. It is the moment you wake up and see through the veil that covers most eyes. Being chosen by God is not privilege. It is awakening. It is the courage to face the unseen currents that shape destiny. The Shaolin path has always taught this. Monks devote their lives to piercing through illusions, ego, distraction, fear. They learn that the greatest battles are not fought with fists, but within the mind. In this teaching, I will share with you the hidden meaning behind being chosen, and why this revelation cannot remain concealed any longer. We will walk through the practices of discipline, the silence where secrets are spoken, and the inner power that rises when the ego falls. You will discover why the body remembers what the mind forgets, how attention builds reality, and why virtue is the only vessel strong enough to carry divine truth. These are not stories from afar. These are living principles, practiced for centuries inside temple walls, tested in sweat, meditation, and silence. Lesser-known lessons that reveal how Shaolin monks uncover the patterns of life most people never notice. If you stay until the end, you will not only understand what God is revealing, you will feel it pressing against your own heart. This is Shaolin Soulfire. Welcome to this journey. If the wisdom you hear today speaks to your spirit, honor it by subscribing to our channel and walking this path with us. The hidden is becoming seen, and it begins now. People wander the world searching for signals in the sky, waiting for miracles to appear like lightning. Yet the truest signs rarely arrive outside of you. They whisper within. The real revelation is not written on walls or hidden in sacred objects. It is woven into the stillness of your own heart. When I was young in the temple, I too looked outward. I thought enlightenment would come from the teachings of a great master or from a vision during meditation. But my teacher reminded me the deepest secrets are not given from outside. They awaken when the inside becomes still enough to hear them. Those words struck me harder than any blow in training. Shaolin discipline was never about chasing external wonders. Day after day, through repetition, sweat, and silence, you begin to notice that what you believed was hidden has been speaking to you all along. Every breath becomes a scripture. Every step on the training ground becomes a verse. When the body bends, when the mind resists, you learn how much noise you carry, and when that noise fades, a new voice rises. That is the true secret: alignment. The alignment of body, mind, and spirit. Not perfection, but balance. When your thoughts no longer pull you in every direction, when your body no longer fights against your spirit, you enter a state where peace itself reveals truth. In Shaolin practice, we say the outside world is a mirror, but the reflection is distorted until the inside is clear. Mastery is not about power over others. It is about clarity within yourself. For when the inside is ordered, the outside follows, and what once felt hidden suddenly stands in plain sight. There is a reason the ancients placed discipline above talent. A sharp mind without discipline scatters like wind. A strong body without discipline collapses into vanity. But discipline, steady, humble, unwavering, becomes the key that unlocks what others call mystery. In the temple, discipline was not spoken of as punishment. It was a form of respect for life, for the path, for yourself. Rising before dawn, repeating movements until the muscles trembled, sitting in silence until thoughts burned away. At first, it feels like restriction, but slowly, it becomes freedom. Each repetition carves away illusion, like a sculptor shaping stone until the figure inside is revealed. Hidden truths never shout. They wait, they hide behind the noise of laziness, the distractions of desire, the endless pulling of the world. Discipline is the fire that clears this overgrowth. It doesn't arrive in one great act, but in small choices returned to again and again. Wake, breathe, train, reflect. Repeat. Over months, years, a new self emerges, clear, centered, unshaken. The old Shaolin masters taught that every strike of the fist was less about the opponent and more about the self. Could you remain present through pain? Could you stay focused through exhaustion? Could you meet repetition with patience? These were the tests. The true fight was not against another, but against the restless spirit within. Discipline is not glamorous, it is not loud, but it is the only path that strips away the layers of self-deception. Without it, the secrets of life remain locked. With it, the doors begin to open, not suddenly, but surely. Step by step, you discover that discipline itself is the revelation, and through it, the hidden becomes clear. The mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant will grow. If you fill it with noise, anger, and endless distraction, that is the forest you will walk through each day. But if you learn to guard your attention, to choose carefully where your thoughts rest, your life begins to change shape. What feels like fate is often only the fruit of your focus. In the old Shaolin halls, attention was the first lesson, long before striking forms or advanced practices. Masters would tell students to sweep the same courtyard stone by stone day after day. Some grew impatient, thinking it wasted time. But the true purpose was hidden in the act itself. Could the student remain fully present with each movement? Could they resist the urge to wander in thought? Over time, those who endured discovered their minds sharpening like a blade. What looked ordinary became sacred. God does not thunder his secrets across the sky. His voice is softer, closer, more subtle. It lives in the rhythm of your breath, in the silence between your thoughts, in the way your heart steadies when you are truly present. But most cannot hear, for their ears are filled with the clamor of distraction. Attention is the doorway. When you bring it fully to the smallest acts, walking, eating, training, praying, you begin to align with a deeper order. Each moment becomes a messenger. Each detail carries meaning. The Shaolin way reminds us, the foundation of mastery is not strength but awareness. Where attention goes, energy flows. Where energy flows, life unfolds. Guard it as you would guard a flame in the wind. For the world you live in tomorrow is being built by the focus you choose today. The body never lies. Long before the mind admits fear, the shoulders tighten. Before the heart confesses sorrow, the breath shortens. Anger shows itself in the fists, even when the lips stay silent. What the mind tries to bury, the body continues to speak. This is why the Shaolin path does not separate mind from body. Martial arts and Qigong are not only physical disciplines, they are languages. Through them the body tells the truth that the mind has hidden. When you strike, block, or hold a stance, every weakness, every hesitation, every hidden thought surfaces. The body reveals what words conceal. In training halls, students are taught to watch these signals. A trembling arm may show more than fatigue. It may reveal impatience, pride, or lack of focus. A shallow breath may not be about strength, but about fear the mind has not yet faced. In Qigong, the slow flow of energy through breath and movement brings hidden tensions into awareness, like light entering a darkened room. To walk this path is to learn to listen, not just to your thoughts, but to the quiet messages of your own muscles, joints, and breath. When harmony returns to the body, clarity begins in the mind. Ancient masters often said that the body is the first scripture. It holds memory, truth, and instruction. If you ignore it, you remain divided, cut off from yourself. But when you reunite mind and body through steady practice, you step into wholeness. Then the whispers inside can be heard clearly. The secret is not elsewhere. It has been living in your breath, your posture, your very heartbeat, waiting for you to listen. The greatest war between you and truth is not the world outside, it is the self you cling to inside. Ego builds that wall. It whispers, "This is who I am, this is what I must protect, this is what I cannot lose." It clings to titles, to stories of the past, to fears of the future. But the secret waiting for you cannot pass through this barrier. It requires surrender. In the Shaolin and Chan tradition, this surrender is sometimes called the death of the self. Not death of the body, but of the false identity. A master might ask a student, "Who are you without your name, without your history, without your thoughts?" The student will stumble for an answer, for the ego cannot survive such a question. Training makes this lesson unavoidable. When you repeat the same movement thousands of times, pride becomes useless. The body grows tired, the mind rebels, the ego screams to stop. Only when you let go of the story, I am strong, I am weak, I should be further ahead, do you begin to taste real freedom. Ego seeks safety, but safety is an illusion. Clinging to it is like holding water in your hands. The tighter you grip, the faster it escapes. The secret of surrender is not weakness, it is power. For when the ego falls silent, a greater self awakens, one not limited by fear or identity. The Chan masters taught that the self you defend so fiercely is only a mask. When the mask drops, what remains is vast, unshaken, and free. This is where God's message becomes clear, not in the noise of ego, but in the silence that follows its release. Silence is not emptiness, it is presence. Beneath the constant noise of thought, beneath the endless dialogue of the mind, there waits a deeper voice, but most never hear it, because they are carried away by their own chatter. To touch the secret, you must first quiet the storm. The Shaolin path has long taught that silence is a gate. Monks sit in stillness, not to escape life, but to return to it more fully. Seated meditation trains the body to rest, the breath to settle, and the mind to unclench. Walking meditation teaches the same lesson in motion, each step a reminder that peace is not bound to stillness, but can travel with you into the world. One of the oldest practices is Biguan, wall gazing. Facing a bare wall, a practitioner sits for hours, sometimes days. With nothing to distract the eye, the inner landscape comes into view. Restlessness rises, then fades. Memories surface, then dissolve. At last the mind grows quiet, and in that quiet, a different kind of knowing appears. The Chan masters called this Ziguan, stopping and seeing. First stop the endless circling of thought. Then, from that stopping, true seeing arises. It is not the seeing of the eyes, but of the spirit. Subtle truths reveal themselves, not through effort, but through surrender. God's secret lies here, in the silence that most people fear. For silence strips away illusion. It removes the masks of constant talking, constant doing, constant proving. What remains is simple but profound, a presence that has always been with you. To still the mind is not to lose yourself. It is to return to what has been waiting behind every breath, the unspoken truth that only silence can reveal. Life moves according to rhythms we cannot command. Seasons turn without our permission. The sun rises whether we are ready or not. Rivers carve valleys, not by force but by patience. There is an order beneath it all, a hidden pattern, and when we stop fighting it, we begin to see its beauty. God's timing is like this. It does not bend to our demands. Many try to force their way, pushing doors that will not open, clinging to seasons that have already passed. But harmony asks something different. To listen, to flow, to act in rhythm with the greater design. The Shaolin tradition has always honored this principle. Discipline is essential, yet discipline alone becomes rigid. Flexibility is equally vital, but without structure, it becomes aimless. True mastery is found where the two meet, firm yet yielding, steady yet adaptable. On the training ground, this balance is clear. Strike with power, but know when to withdraw. Hold a stance with strength, but not so tight that breath cannot flow. Push your body, but also allow it to rest and heal. The lesson is not only physical, it is a mirror of how life itself must be lived. There is a time for action and a time for stillness, a time to step forward and a time to wait. Those who live in harmony with this order waste no energy forcing what is not yet ready. They move with the current, and because of this, their strength multiplies. To harmonize is to trust. It is to know that the pattern has already been written, and your task is not to rewrite it, but to find your place within it. In this way, life becomes less of a struggle and more of a dance. Power alone is dangerous. A sharp blade in unsteady hands can wound more than protect. Knowledge without virtue becomes pride. Skill without humility becomes tyranny. This is why the ancients said that true strength must always rest upon virtue. Without it, what is meant to lift others can easily destroy. In Shaolin tradition, this foundation is called wood, martial virtue. It is not only about how you fight, but how you live. A student may master the stances, the strikes, the breath, yet still be considered untrained if the heart is not upright. Virtue is the vessel that allows skill and insight to be carried without corruption. Wood is built upon humility, respect, righteousness, and loyalty. Humility teaches that, no matter your skill, you remain a student of life. Respect reminds you to honor teachers, peers, and even opponents. Righteousness guides action, ensuring strength is used to protect, not oppress. Loyalty binds the spirit, keeping the heart steadfast even when challenges press in. Stories tell of masters who refused to teach students who sought only power. Without virtue, they said, your fists are empty. For in the end, the art was never about domination, but about alignment with a higher order. Martial ability without moral clarity is like a river without banks. It floods, it destroys. God's revelations are the same. Insight without virtue can lead to arrogance, misinterpretation, even harm. But when carried in a vessel of humility and respect, revelation becomes light for others. Virtue steadies the hand that holds the truth. So the path is clear. Cultivate strength, yes, but guard it with virtue. For it is not power that makes a master, but the spirit in which that power is held. Progress in the inner path is rarely sudden. More often, it feels like walking through mist. You take step after step, yet the landscape looks unchanged. Doubt creeps in, perhaps nothing is happening, perhaps all effort is wasted. But this is only the surface. Beneath it, something unseen is forming. Shaolin training is a testament to this truth. A student may practice the same stance for months, legs aching, breath heavy, sweat pooling on the floor. Day after day, the posture feels the same, difficult, unyielding. Then one morning, without warning, the stance feels different. The body aligns, the breath flows, the mind becomes still. The breakthrough arrives quietly, yet everything has changed. This is the hidden rhythm of practice. Long seasons of repetition, then sudden clarity. Kung Fu, Qigong, meditation, all demand patience. The movements seem endless, the silence stretches wide, and yet with each moment the foundations deepen. Roots grow slowly underground before the tree ever rises into view. In the spiritual path, God's secrets unfold in the same way. You pray, you train, you sit in silence, often with no sign that anything is happening. But every repetition, every breath, every still moment is carving away the layers that blind you. Then, when the time is right, revelation breaks through, not as something new, but as something that had been waiting all along. The lesson is simple though not easy. Trust the process. Do not mistake slowness for emptiness. The unseen work is the most powerful work, and when the moment of clarity comes, you will understand that nothing was wasted, that every slow step was carrying you toward the unveiling of the secret itself. Truth is not meant to be locked away. When revelation comes, it is not a treasure to hide in secret chambers of the heart, but a light to be carried into the world. The purpose of insight is not possession, but service. To hoard what has been given is to misunderstand its nature. Truth grows brighter only when shared. The Shaolin tradition reflects this through compassion. Monks dedicate years to self-mastery, yet their training does not end with themselves. Discipline of body and clarity of mind are only foundations. The true measure of mastery is whether it flowers into kindness. A monk who perfects technique but shows no compassion is still incomplete. There are stories of Shaolin brothers who would interrupt their training to help a farmer lift a burden or to guide travelers along mountain paths. These acts were not separate from practice, they were part of it. To extend strength toward others, to use clarity for healing rather than pride, this is the living spirit of the teachings. Compassion requires surrender. You give without weighing personal gain, you serve without expectation of return. In this surrender, the ego softens and the truth you carry becomes a channel rather than a possession. The light does not belong to you, it flows through you. The ancients said that the highest form of strength is gentleness, not weakness, but the choice to use power for peace. When discipline, wisdom, and kindness meet, revelation fulfills its purpose. For what good is insight if it does not ease suffering? What good is mastery if it does not lift others? To receive truth is a gift. To embody compassion is to honor that gift. Only then does the hidden become more than knowledge. It becomes life shared with the world. True practice does not end when the bell is struck or when the training ground is left behind. If wisdom is real, it must flow into every corner of life. The teachings are not meant to live only on meditation cushions or within temple walls. They must breathe through the ordinary moments, shaping how we speak, how we listen, how we walk through the world. Mindfulness is not a posture, it is a way of being. When you speak, it means choosing words that heal rather than harm. When you listen, it means giving full attention without rushing to respond. In relationships, it means seeing others not as tools for your desires, but as fellow travelers carrying their own burdens. Even in the smallest choices, what you eat, how you work, how you rest, the spirit of practice is revealed. Shaolin philosophy has always refused to separate the sacred from the mundane. To sweep the floor with attention is as much a meditation as to sit in silence. To share food with gratitude is as much a prayer as chanting in the hall. What matters is not the form of the act, but the spirit within it. The ancients taught that a divided life is a restless life. If you are mindful only in practice but careless in daily living, the mind remains split. But when mindfulness is woven into each action, life itself becomes the training ground. Every moment becomes an opportunity for clarity, patience, compassion. This is the true depth of the path, not escaping the world, but entering it fully with presence. When the spiritual and the ordinary meet, there is no longer separation, only one continuous practice, unfolding breath by breath. Everything we've explored leads to one simple truth. The secret God cannot hide is not somewhere far away. It is already within you. Your mind, your body, your spirit, they are the doorway. Awakening comes not from outside, but from turning inward, from practicing patience, discipline, and presence, from letting go of ego and allowing virtue to guide your actions. This is the work that transforms life. Each breath, each choice, each quiet moment becomes a step toward clarity. As you integrate these teachings into daily life, the hidden begins to reveal itself. You start to see not just with your eyes, but with understanding. You begin to act not just with force, but with wisdom. Take these lessons gently into your own life. Observe your thoughts, honor your body, practice kindness, and bring mindfulness into even the smallest moments. Over time, the unseen truths that have been waiting inside you will unfold, quietly, steadily, naturally. May your journey be calm, disciplined, and full of insight. May what is hidden in your heart become clear, and may your life reflect the harmony and clarity that these teachings offer. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. If this path speaks to your spirit, join us by subscribing and continue walking this journey of self-mastery and awakening with us.